This video will explain 3 different methods for adding fonts to your Mac computer. Though I'm using macOS Ventura, the processes for previous versions of macOS are either very similar or the same. Chances are, if you're watching this video, you've already got a font you're planning to install. For the sake of completeness though, I'll go ahead and download 3 different fonts from this site, dafont.com. I'm in the mood for some horror fonts, so I'll search for horror, resulting in a big, long list of fonts. I'll download one of the first fonts named simply horror. Then I'll skip to the next unique names, horrors, followed by horroroid. Each of these downloads is a compressed zip file. I'll extract the first one and check out what we have. Looks like we have a single TTF file. The 2 main font file extensions you'll run across are TTF and OTF. They will both be handled the same way. For the first installation, I'll control-click on the TTF file and select Open. This opens the font book application, and as you can see here, there is a preview of the horror font and I'm given the option to install or skip. I'll click Install. This installs the font. I can then search for horror and there it is listed. Double-click on the search result and there is the font as it is displayed within the font book. Next, I'll open a blank Word document and search for horror in the font section of the Home tab of the ribbon. With the horror font selected, I'll try some typing. I'm writing in horror. This font has everything you need. Punctuation, caps, and lowercase, underlines, italics, bold, even strike through. The next font in our list is the horroroid font. I'll extract that and see what I get. Look at all those TTF files. Looks like there is a different file for every single style you want to apply to this font. There are also several different variations on the font. With this font, I'll use the font book for the installation. I'll use Spotlight to search for the font book and open it up. Here we see a long list of all the fonts available on this machine. In my horroroid folder, I'll rearrange the files by kind to make sure I can easily select only the font files. I'll select all the TTF files and drag them right into this list of fonts. I'll open a new Word document, and this time I use a drop-down to scroll down to the horroroid fonts I just installed. As you can see here, there is a whole section of different variations of the horroroid fonts available. Next, I'll extract the third font, Horrors. This time, I'll install the font by moving the file directly into the fonts folder. I'll find this by going back to the font book, control-clicking on one of my horroroid fonts, and selecting Show in Finder. The Horrors font has both OTF and TTF files. This time, I'll use the OTF files. I'll select all the OTF files in the folder and drag them right over into the Finder window. I'll open a new Word document and see what's going on with the Horrors font. There it is. And even though I dragged both the Horrors and the Horrors italic into the fonts folder, only the Horrors font is listed. If I hover over the Horrors font, we see both styles listed there. This was a short, superficial memory jogging quick note about the step-by-step process for installing a font on a Mac. One thing that I should mention though is that it's always a good idea to check the licensing information delivered with any font you download, particularly if you're going to be using it for commercial purposes. Most fonts come with some sort of licensing agreement, often in the form of a TXT file. If the lack of detail in this video leaves you with questions, please let us know in the comments. Thanks for watching and stay tuned.